You often ask, how much will I earn and why sometimes mining doesn't bring the desired results. Today, we will try to answer these questions in a simple way. What determines the efficiency of mining? Is it possible to mine on a falling cryptocurrency rate? And which strategy is better to choose? So let's go. Why is mining not bringing the desired results? First of all, in addition to the cryptocurrency rate, there is such a parameter as difficulty of mining. What is it? So let's see an example. This seems to be clear. This seems to be a bit more difficult. So, shall I place brackets here, or how much would it be? It's better to use a calculator. In general, the difficulty of mining is the difficulty of the problem that miners or computers need to solve or calculate in order to find a block. We talked about what blockchain is in our previous videos, so you can see the link in the description. And the higher the difficulty of mining is, in other words, the more difficult the task that needs to be calculated is, the more difficult it is to find a block. But there is also another parameter. The more powerful the miner or the computer is, the easier it is to solve the task. We do have an idea of how to make a review of the most powerful miners in 2020. Sounds interesting? Then write in comments, subscribe, and wait for our next video. So let's go on. How often is difficulty recalculated and why is it recalculated? In the Bitcoin network, the difficulty is recalculated every 2016 blocks and directly depends on the time it took to find the previous batch of blocks. For example, if it takes 10 minutes to find one block, which is what Satoshi Nakamoto planned when he created Bitcoin, then finding 2016 blocks will take around 2 weeks. If the previous 2016 blocks were found faster than 2 weeks, then the difficulty will be increased. If slower, then reduced. The more time it took to find the previous 2016 blocks, the more the difficulty decreases. All this is included in the Bitcoin program and happens automatically. Can difficulty be influenced? Both yes and no. The point is that there is also a correlation with the number of miners. If there are few miners, then the difficulty drops. If there are a lot of miners, the difficulty begins to grow. The more difficult tasks appear. This makes it harder for one particular miner to find a block. In addition, each miner consumes a certain amount of electricity, and its efficiency directly depends on the cost of this electricity. Therefore, if you use the power of cloud mining, then its efficiency may drop for some short periods of time due to the increased difficulty. But you should not worry, because the difficulty is constantly being adjusted. You just need to wait for the next recalculation, and most likely the efficiency will be increased due to the growing cost of Bitcoin. Or the difficulty will decrease because all miners will become ineffective and will simply be turned off from the general network. By the way, this happened before and is happening today with some farms, which we all know are in the scam list because they use outdated miners that consume a lot of energy and are not efficient. After all, no one wants to waste electricity on an unprofitable miner. So the conclusion is, the difficulty depends on the number and efficiency of miners in the general network. And the profitability depends on the cost of electricity and the electricity consumed by a particular miner. So when choosing a cloud mining provider, it's important to, first of all, choose a company that legally operates and constantly updates its miners and doesn't withdraw its profits to buy another Bentley or to organize a private party somewhere on the island. Then it should have access to cheap electricity, and during the fall in the value of Bitcoin, you should wait a little, because ineffective scam farms will be turned off and the difficulty will fall, and the rest will begin to have high profits, which will compensate the previous temporary losses.